and gentlemen, welcome to episode 259 of the Drunk Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, as always, I'm Tyler, and joining me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, broski?
Hey, I am well, Tyler. Gotta admit, after this week, I feel pretty damn good. Hard work week done, got paid, did a bunch of bill paying, and I've been playing a lot of games, so hey, nothing more I could be happy about at the moment.
Nice.
So how have you been, man?
About the same. Paid off my car today. That was nice. Maybe the last car payment. I got my white girl on this morning and went and got myself some Starbucks. that was pretty good. And had lunch with a friend and watching some wrestling. It is the most wonderful time of the year to be a wrestling fan, especially if you're a smart mark like we are. So watching some NXT TakeOver tonight. Want to check out some Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor sometime here eventually this weekend. But then tomorrow we have the 25-hour marathon of that is now WrestleMania. So that's going to be pretty sweet.
Oh, yeah.
It's not really 25 hours. It's like 7 hours, but still, it feels like 25. Yeah. It's like, as much as I love wrestling, this is like I look forward to this weekend all year because there's so much great wrestling. But even I'm like, man, there's way too much wrestling. Like, it's too much. It's just too much. It's like, this is ridiculous. It's like I'm watching like a classic match right now, but I'm seeing like 30 hours of wrestling in the last like 20 hours. So, but no, I'm still enjoying it. I have to finish NXT after this is over. Excuse me, but I'm doing all right. I did actually. I went to the cell phone stores last weekend and spent over 4 hours getting a switch from US Cellular because they're garbage, and went to Verizon. So that was pretty exciting. That was fun. Got to wait an hour and a half for a fucking iPhone update. That was great. That was fun. Yeah, that's how I'm doing though. Things are getting slowing down a little bit at work, so not working so many hours, not working so many Saturdays, which is nice. So getting a lot more time to game still. But I guess we can just jump right into it. I'll let you start. What have you been playing, Gables?
Okay, so continuing on from last week, I have been playing mostly the same. I've been playing through Devil May Cry 3 and more Pokemon Platinum. I'll start with Devil May Cry 3. Okay. From last week, I had got up to the point where I was stuck from the last time that I had played the game. Now, for those who don't know, the last time I played Devil May Cry 3 and tried to do an initial playthrough of it was back in the PS2 days. So the one part I got stuck was in Mission 5. Mission 5, there was this one bridge or something like that you broke or something like that to gain access to this this pit that's filled with demons, and you got to defeat them in order to get back to where you were. But anyway, I was always stuck as a teenager because I did not know how to progress. So, funny story, I end up getting this jewel, this like soul-stealing jewel, and I didn't know this at the time, but I could actually walk across the bridge that was out, like on an invisible platform, all the way up to the door where I needed to go the entire time. And there's just moments like that, I'm a scatterbrain as it is with things. My friends know it, my family knows it, and it's even worse when I'm at work or something, and like, say one of the girls or something like that that's stalking or something just goes up to me and says, hey, can I get a price for this? And all of a sudden, it's like I go and I try to grab a tag. It's like, no, that's for hardware. I'm like, oh, shit. God damn it. And I just But anyway, that affects my gameplay as well, where if I'm not focusing too hard or not as intently, I tend to overlook the most obvious. So back then, I would go through the same boss battles again and again to try to figure out, okay, what I need to do. But anyway, from continuing on, I went through the unfamiliar area of that mission that I had not yet to complete, and I came across these two bosses. Actually, these bosses are like at the same time these guardians for this one gate that you need to progress through. Both of them are like sword wielders. One of them's named like Agni and the other one's like Rudra. Basically, these are these fighters that are these sworn protectors to make sure that nobody gets past like this gate or something that to progress past that Teneniguru Tower and stuff. So one of them has a fire weapon, the other one has a wind weapon. So what they do is they do coordinated attacks towards you. So you as Dante got to go through and just switch things up with your weapon arsenal. Because there's sword dealers, like there's sword wielders and stuff, you got to go through and try to disrupt their strategy. So what I ended up finding out is when I switched from my sword, the Rebellion, and equipped onto that Cerberus nunchucks, those ice nunchucks that I had earned the last time, I was able to disrupt their strategy to where I could whittle down their HP and stuff. The first time I tried doing this, I whittled down one of their HP all the way down and left the other one alive. What I didn't understand up until now is this is the type of boss battle where you gotta beat these guys pretty much close to the same time. Because if you don't do that, one is going to gain access to the weapon of the other and all of a sudden become incredibly supercharged. So that ended up becoming like a very tough boss fight at the beginning. Until I figured out, oh, okay, if I do this combination to one of them, and then do the same to the other one of them, and then like coordinate my attacks so I can get their HP down real close around the same time, they're not going to supercharge. So, in of itself, that boss battle was difficult, but it was good. It was better than what, up to that point, something new, something that I hadn't experienced before in that game. So I go through Mission 5, Mission 6, and 7. Those ones were interesting enough. Now, for one of the missions, you had to go through this sort of like split path. You begin the stage where you get up to this point where there's 3 branching paths. One of them, these are basically warrior-like trials for Dante. So one of them has to do with like technique, the other has to do with like, say, his combats and his intelligence and this and that. So I go through one of them, the one on the far left, if I'm remembering correctly, and basically you got to navigate these walls of spikes that are moving towards you and stuff. So there's like this narrow corridor, and you got to watch intently on where these spikes are going to be like coming from next, because they'll either come from the top, like, and just move forward, and then one on the side will move forward all the way to the thing. So I end up finding out that the way for me to like progress through that area is to stick to the right side of the corridor, and once the spikes in the ground started moving towards me, I could double jump against the wall in order to avoid them and then go all the way and get the little orb that I needed to do before I had to rush out again. But the other little trial that I had to go through was sort of like a gauntlet to where I had to beat on these two pillars in order to light up the little torches in order to get the other little jewel. And on top of that, I had to battle a horde of demons while doing that. So what I ended up learning was if you don't keep them lit, these enemies are going to have this purple aura around them to where they have this particular curse where they're not going to die if you do not have them lit, had those little pillars lit. So micromanaging that on top of like destroying those demons, that was a bit of a challenge too. For those that are wondering, I am playing the game on normal mode. Yes, easy mode has unlocked, and the game has made it abundantly clear to me that, oh hey, the easy mode's unlocked, you suck. But that's basically what Capcom did with Devil May Cry 3 from back in the day, where because of all the complaints gamers had back in the day to where the game was too hard or something for people, and basically they just made it blatantly obvious for some. It's like, if you die a certain number of times, easy mode automatically unlocks.
I'm just happy to know that I'm not the only one that's terrible at video games around here, Gables. So.
Well,
or that we at least found a video game that you're not awesome at, so that's good.
That's just the thing. There are plenty of games that I'm not awesome at. I mean, I don't really go through and play a lot of online first-person shooters for one thing.
But you're still better than me at all of them, so it's bullshit. Well, I could be Cuphead in like an hour and a half, Tyler. Why did it take you 7 hours to get through World 1?
Okay, that's not accurate. I haven't beat Cuphead yet.
Okay, but you got further in an hour and a half than I did in 7 hours. So the facts still remain the same.
Well, hell, you didn't play too many freaking platformers probably back in the day. But hard. I digress. But anyway, the last mission that I had completed was you had to face off against Dante's brother Virgil on this big old altar on the top of the tower. So this boss battle was really intense. It was intense because he uses this sword called the Yamato to where he basically can do like slow, kind of like foreboding like movements that you can predict, but these hyper fast like sword slashes with his sword. And the thing about this boss battle is you have to wait until he literally goes through and sheaths his sword in order for you to try to attack him. I figured it out the second time that I tried to like face him, and I ended up beating him a little bit. And I finally whittled it down to where I finally beat him. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh man, the cutscene afterwards though is really interesting though too, because Dante's falling from the big old tower and stuff. He's unlocked this sort of like this devil trigger power to where he basically can assume like a demon form or something and do this and do that. And I'm like, oh hey, that's gonna be something fun to actually play through at some point in this game. So last time I left off, it was the beginning of Mission 8 where Dante, falling from that freaking tower, gets eaten by this flying serpent. And now I'm in the belly of a freaking beast. So it's basically almost kind of similar to the levels of absurdity in Bayonetta, only kind of less tame, if you want to believe that. But yeah, Devil May Cry 3, playing through it for nostalgia's sakes, only up to a certain extent, and then advancing past where I was previously, it's actually kind of a weird feeling, because it's like, on one hand, I remember all these older missions and stuff from when I played it on the PS2, but it kind of feels like a new game, as I'm now in different parts that I've never was before, and now it's kind of like a weird sort of mix that I'm actually really starting to enjoy it now that I have gotten past the parts where I'm stuck. Let's see, combat, I'm still sticking with the Swordmaster stuff. The game, I think I'm nearly halfway through Devil May Cry 3. I checked and there's actually like 20 missions in all, and I'm like at mission 8. So there's plenty of stuff to do in this game. Okay, well anyway, the other game that I had a chance to play, which I touched on a little bit, Pokemon Platinum. I'm still playing through that game. I found my 6th member of my team yesterday, actually. After going through and finishing off Crasher Wake at my 5th gym badge and stuff, I go through like the Canalive City, I believe it's called. I go and I beat the gym leader there. I go on to this little place called Iron Island, and I meet this NPC called Riley. And you have to escort him all the way through this cave because he's like training too. So both of you are going through like beating a whole bunch of people. But once you get to the end of the cave, he rewards you with this Pokemon that you can go through and like, this particular type of egg or whatever. And so he gives you this egg and you can go on and try to hatch it, and out hatches a little Riolu. So Riolu is the pre-evolved form of Lucario. So, Lucario is a fantastic Pokemon in this game. This is where he was introduced, and the reason why I feel that he's probably one of the best Pokemon inside that generation of games is his attack and his special attack are almost near identical. So, basically, I trained up this Riolu. I've also gave him the nickname of Dante. See how the cross references between gameplay this week? But
keeping it all tied together, that's smart.
Yeah, I know, right? But
I started getting confused though. I wouldn't be able to keep. Wait, which one am I playing right now? Like Charmander, Flamethrower, and like, oh wait, fuck, Dante doesn't have Flamethrower.
But I played through, got my Riolu and stuff, leveled him up to a Lucario. I went through the final gym as well. So I went through like the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th gyms already in the span of like a couple days. Went through the whole thing with Team Galactic and stuff, and basically you settled the dispute between Cyrus, the leader of Team Galactic, on his quest to try to create a new world and stuff. That's pretty much within his like vision and stuff. I finally got to the Distortion world, which is a place I kind of liked when I played through the first time because it's vastly like kind of a different type of space. It wasn't in the original Diamond and Pearl. It's something just exclusively to Platinum, and I think it really does well for its purpose. It's to set up like Giratina as that kind of force or some this ominous force that in legend speaking or some it's not really readily talked about, but it has enough power to live in its own distorted world and all this other shit. And so I went through that. I had to go through it like 2 times because I ended up like losing to Cyrus this one time because his fucking Gyarados is so overpowered. I can give you a little bit of a history lesson here. In Generation 4, Gyarados, because of the physical special move split between types, Gyarados got a major buff inside that generation because the moves that he has are mostly like physical base. So he has access to moves or can have access to moves like Waterfall, Ice Fang, Earthquake, and
just don't go chasing those waterfalls.
Yeah, exactly. What I'm
Sorry.
what I'm pretty much glad that wasn't there was a Dragon Dance setup because what Dragon Dance basically is it's a buffing move that increases the attack and speed of a Pokemon of a particular type. So you have the access to like just set up and sweep by building up the attack power of say Waterfall or Ice Fang or Earthquake, and basically it would allow access to just sweep through an entire team with little to no effort because of Gyarados' high attack. So I ended up beating Cyrus just by the skin of my teeth with my Gastrodon. So at the moment right now, I got my full team of 6. I got my Roserade, got my Lucario, got my Infernape. Let's see. I got my other teammates as well. I got my Garchomp, which that was an interesting ordeal. Because when I caught him as a Gibble, his nature made it so where his defense was incredibly weak. I know, right?
I just love the fact there's a Pokemon named Gibble. I don't know why that got me, but that did.
I know the names could be so funny just to read out and stuff.
Well, I want to Google this. Gibble, I assume.
Nah, Gible.
Oh, this is stupid. This I'm just making shit up. Oh boy.
It's a dragon ground type.
It looks like a hammerhead shark with feet.
Exactly.
It's
That's
like
why I like it.
It's like the head of a hammerhead shark with a tail and feet. Okay. It's a land shark. That makes sense. All right. Go on. Sorry.
Oh yeah. So with this Gibble that I caught, defense, him taking physical attacks or something like that from other Pokemon really wasn't that good. I basically when I evolved him into a Gabite, which is like the middle evolved form and stuff between like Gibble and Garchomp and stuff, I ended up giving him like about 5 protein, 5 iron to try to boost him up a bit so he's not, basically just dying in one hit, which that's basically what he was doing for a lot of the journey, was dying in one hit. I'm like, God damn it. Why are you getting critical hits against him? Anyway. Finally, he's at that point where just today, like a couple hours ago, I got him to level 48. He is now a Garchomp. He knows Earthquake. He knows, like, a Dragon Claw. He has Dig if he wants to use that as well. He's basically a freaking monster now. So it's like, that was probably the one of many, like, redeeming factors of just sticking with, like, my main team. Because I got him from, like, he was very weak, and now he's pretty much one of the contenders for one of the best Pokemon on my team right now. Because, like I said before, I got my Garchomp, got my Infernape, got my Roserade, got my Crobat, which, Crobat is something else in and of itself. Because all he knows right now is just, like, this Aerial Ace and, like, Bite and all this other stuff. I could just improve his moves if I can find something that's strong enough, but let's just say at this point in time, I'm right at Victory Road. Everything else is starting to click into place. I may be going on a rush to the Elite Four, a champion, possibly later on, like tomorrow at earliest. I just want to get all my party to like around level 48 or something at the late 40s and see what happens, pretty much. Because the whole challenge of this, I don't have a dedicated electric type I don't have like various moves of various Pokemon that would actually help make this a bit easier. Because I know when it comes to the champion of that game, it's the same as in Diamond and Pearl for when I played through Diamond last year and the whole battle I had with Cynthia back then. Oh, this is gonna be even more tougher in this one. So I got that to look forward to. Not too much like on new games for me playing this week, but next week, who knows? I may have another game or two started and stuff for discussion. So that's pretty much what I've been playing this week.
Man. Hey, as long as you're having fun, that's the point of gaming.
Yeah.
Before we get to what I've been playing, I want to kind of segue into something from our news. So this came out earlier in the week, and I didn't know anything about this actually until this morning. But there is apparently might be a leak of a screenshot for Pokemon for the Switch. I think it was like I can't remember the person's name. I think it was like Pixel Art or Pixel something on Twitter released it and said they promised it wasn't a like an April Fool's joke. They actually have in the past leaked information about Nintendo before, and it's actually come out and been correct or mostly correct information. They guessed a lot of the stuff right, or not guessed, but they leaked a lot of stuff that was correct for some of the more recent directs. So this is a fairly credible source. But anyways, they it's hard to talk about, because it's a screenshot. We don't, obviously we can't just say what it is. But in the screenshot, Gables has seen it. It looks like the trainer is like riding on the back of a Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
And like off to the side, you can see like it looks like Gyarados' tail, right on the back of Pokemon in the water, I should say, and they're basically surfing. There's some rocks around. There's a little bit of land. It's not a super like high res picture. It's pretty low res, and apparently a few other people have gotten this picture too from fairly credible sources, and yeah. So I mean, that's all. We don't really have a lot to go on other than this picture, but based off of it, let's just, before we get into whether we think it's real or not, let's just assume this is real. What are your thoughts on this, Gables, on this, going off the screenshot? Just trying to, like, what do you think? Is this, like, disappoint you? Does it excite you? What do you got coming from this picture?
For the picture in general, it does excite me a bit because it looks relatively familiar in terms of what it looks like. The high res and everything, it kind of suggests, it kind of makes me kind of wonder if this is actually a remake of a previous Pokemon game. Because from going through the past couple and the past month and a half, the formation inside the picture itself is relatively familiar from somewhere. I'm wanting to say red and blue. I'm not sure. But it would also go along the lines of the rumors and stuff that were going around of potentially the Switch getting, say, like remakes, maybe like a what was that term again? Like, not like a relaunch, but like
a port, or not a port, not a reboot?
A reboot.
Yeah.
It potentially kind of reminds me sort of like a reboot of, like, say, Red and Blue in terms of the screenshot in of itself, because basically what the Pokemon you're riding there kind of looks similar to what, like, a Lapras, and then the formation kind of looks like somewhere that was akin to an area where the Cinnabar Islands and stuff look like in Red and Blue. But yeah, that kind of does have me excited, because it definitely seems, from the blurred image itself, it looks like, from what was shown, it looks like that it's a little bit higher in terms of visual fidelity, in terms of detail, in comparison to, say, what you would find, say, on the 3DS games. I mean, the character sprites, the Pokemon, the things that are there, that's what stands out from the screenshot in of itself. So what do you think, Tyler?
Going off of it, and I was watching, IGN has this podcast called Nintendo Voice Chat, and they're actually showing some gameplay, and I'm like this looks really good for of Sun and Moon. And I'm like, this looks really good for a 3DS game. Come to find out, like, somebody actually like up-res it to 4K visuals, and I'm like, holy shit, that looks amazing. I can't remember what they said it runs on, but someone had up-res those games to that point on like I think like PC or something. But that's what, like I'm like, okay, if that's what it looks like, that's I mean, it's not like PS4 Pro, Xbox One X level, but if it looks like that, that 4K, obviously it won't be 4K, but if it looks similar to that, what it is, then that'd be pretty great. I think. I as far as we talked about past, like what we want it to be, and like going off this screenshot, like, and I actually watched a YouTube video and this guy's like talking like the landmass in the top of the picture. They said looks similar to this landmass in the Kanto region, which I believe is Gen 1, if I remember my Pokemon correctly. So that would be, I mean, if it's a reimagining or a reboot of Gen 1, that would be like, and it looks really great in a Switch, and it's kind of got that 3DS kind of look to it. It's been brought up to this being current. To me, that would be kind of like I don't know if it'd be the perfect Pokemon game, but for a first step to being on a console, that would be like I think the best case scenario for us right now. Like I'm not sitting there. I'm trying to like keep my hype level and what I want it to be in check when I think it can be. But going off this picture we got here, this looks. I mean, if it's real, that to me looks. It's a good step. This makes me feel a little more positive. I mean, if it comes out and it's fake, that'll be pretty disappointing. Or maybe it could be a good thing because it could be better than what we got off this picture. But yeah, just looking at it, I think it looks really cool. And like you, Gables, I think I'm mostly positive on going off of this. But what if you had we've had this before where we've like if we had $20 or $100 and said bet this, what would you bet on? So if you had $100, if I gave you $100 and say went to Vegas and said not that Vegas was doing odds on this, but if they were like, all right, is this fake or is this real? What would you go with?
I go and put $60 on it because I feel like for the vast majority, at least a little over halfway, I feel this is kind of, not just kind of, I feel like this is a legitimate screenshot from the next Pokemon game. Because from what the elements are inside that picture, it does not look like anything inside the more current Pokemon games from, like, say, Sun or Moon or Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon. It doesn't look like it's some sort of fabrication either, to where it's like, oh, hey, we just created this and that and stuff from this emulated software. But I just got a sneaking suspicion because of the credibility of the person who has, like, leaked Nintendo content before, and really, for the vast amount of it, has been, like, relatively correct. And on top of that, having the pattern of what Nintendo and the Pokemon Company have been doing the past year with kind of like introducing new things, say like with the Pokemon anime and the Pokemon this and that, and sort of, the last movie that they came out with Pokemon-wise, that peaked, like that Pokemon like I Choose You.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty much like a retelling, if not a reboot, of the original Pokemon series in and of itself. So if they're heading in that direction, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they could be doing sort of like a reboot for the original games too. So that's why I say put about $60 on it. I feel confident enough to where this is a screenshot. There's a little bit of salt, a little bit of pinch of salt here, because it could easily also be like I said before, somebody kind of doing like a mock-up of something in terms of, like, say, a high-res emulated thing for Sun and Moon, but I don't know. I just feel confident that this is definitely something from up-and-coming Pokemon game.
Yeah. I think I'm with you. If I had to bet my own money on it, I would probably lean more towards being real. And I don't know, maybe if it's just us trying to be optimistic, maybe. Like and hoping this is real more than using. We're thinking with our hearts more than our brains. But I mean, I hope it's real. I hope that's a real thing. And like I said, if I had to put money down on it, I think I would vote for it being, or bet on it being a real picture. And that's a great point with the latest movie being a reboot. And what better way to get, because you're gonna get a pretty, it really is kind of a reboot being on the Switch. Like you're gonna get a lot of new people potentially playing Pokemon games
Yep.
on the Switch, or people that haven't played in a long time, or they remember Pikachu and Charmander and Squirtle and the Eevee and all these like Gen 1 people, kind of like me. Like I know Gen 1 and Gen 2, the rest I don't really know a whole hell of a lot on. And I know, and there's people that know way less than that and that are going to be playing this game. So if you want to get the biggest audience possible, that would probably be the way to go. And start them off with the original 151 or 150, and instead of giving them the like 700 and something there are now. I mean that makes sense. I didn't even think about that, but that's a really great point there, Gables. So man, I hope it is. Like I think, like I said, that'd be the perfect game to do for me personally, just because I would love to replay. If they do red and blue, I hope there's a yellow version. Please God, let there be a yellow version. I want Pikachu with me again, and I want to get all 3 starters. I want to pick, because Charmander and Squirtle are where they're at. All right, Bulbasaur's all right, but I mean, technically he's the strongest. But Venusaur is, but Squirtle Squad though, and Charmander's adorable. Yeah, I don't know. I like I said, I hope it's real. You made some great points there where kind of, I think I was in the middle, but you made some good points that kind of convinced me to lean more towards real than fake. But going back to what we've been playing, I've been playing more of the same this week as I was last week. I played a lot more Fortnite Battle Royale. Still have not got that Victory Royale with cheese. I keep getting to the top 5 though, and top 10. Like I'm pretty good. Like getting in the top 20. Like I am like a camping motherfucker in this game. So getting in the top 20 is fairly easy. But once you get into like the top 15, top 10 is when it gets pretty tough. I've got a few 3rd place finishes. I got a 2nd place finish actually, and I died by running into the storm zone, and it automatically killed me. So that was pretty embarrassing. But yeah, still have a lot of fun with that. I got $20 into it, and I've got probably, I don't know, 10 hours into this game, and still having a lot of fun with it. It's super tense game. Haven't really felt like that tenseness playing games since really like playing maybe like the like original Outlast, or the PT. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with that. Really not much more to say other than it's good. Check it out. It's free download. And then I played a lot more of Far Cry 5. I think this time last week I only put a couple hours into it. I think I probably put probably 10 or 12 hours into it at this point now. Actually, that's probably not true. Probably 8 hours or so. I just beat the first area today. There's like 3 main regions. I mentioned it last week, and you probably all heard it before. There's like 3 main regions, each one with the siblings of Joseph Seed, who's the main villain. It's his 2 brothers, and then their sister. That's not the actual sister, but they call her sister. And I killed the first one, John Seed. Spoiler: you kill him. Not really. That's a spoiler. But it took me a little bit. Like I was playing it, I got like 4 or 5 hours into it, and it wasn't really clicking. And there's definitely some things that still bugs me about it. Where I touched on it last week, where it seems like there's a lot of patrol units out there, and like you'll just be like driving down the road or walking down the road, and it seems like you can't go more than 30, 40 seconds without a truck driving by with enemies in it, and on the back they have a turret. Or there's a plane flying over your head. The planes are the worst because that's just almost automatic death because you can't kill them. They just they'll call in people, so they're attacking you from up high. You can't hide from them, and then you got swarms of enemies coming at you, and killing you. And it was frustrating. And the loading times are pretty long, like 45 seconds to a minute, but it's very frustrating when you're constantly dying like every 5-10 minutes, just trying to get to like where you want to be, just walking around the world or driving through the world, and somehow they can pick you out. A plane can pick out you, and you're in a pickup truck driving around, but that's the rookie, that's the deputy, and next thing you know there's a million guys swarming you. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. Other than that, the missions themselves, the side missions and taking out the outpost are incredibly fun still. Feel like a badass when you do it. The characters are really cool. There's like one mission where like you actually have to like drive to a hospital because one of the characters, his wife is gone into labor, and that was a really fun mission. There's one where like there's like the testicle festival, and you have to go and kill these bulls in different ways while they're having sex with the cows. One like you gotta wait for, it's so stupid. You have to like one of them like you have to like burn them with a Molotov cocktail. One you gotta blow up, and then another one you gotta shoot to death. And you have to get because they're gonna make Rocky Mountain oysters, which are just fried buffalo testicles. For people that didn't know. But yeah, like, and it was pretty fun. And then like there's like at the end of it, there's like it's like a 3 or 4 mission thing. And at the end of it, you get like a drunk phase where you can like do target practice when you're drunk, and it's all fun. Like they've done a good job of like it's a ultra serious game with like this super religious overtone and this cult, but the characters like are wacky and fun. They do a really good job of like making it a serious game with some fun twist in it, which it's a tough balance for a lot of open world games, especially where it's like hey like GTA is like pretty much mastered it, where they find a good balance of, like Trevor for GTA 5. It's like there's like we have these 2 ultra serious characters, and Michael, and I can't remember the other guy's name.
Franklin.
But then you got Franklin, yeah. But then you got Trevor, who's just like you randomly like he's just doing like whenever you jump into him, he's like doing stupid shit, like having sex with somebody and killing the husband, or flying around in a plane, or peeing somewhere, So they've done a good job of that, I think, where like the spikes up and down, and I think I've done it's nice because like I'm like I don't really want to do anything super serious right now. It's like so there's always like options for me to do stupid shit in this game, and some of the sidekicks are pretty cool. Like one of them I found was a sniper, and then there's the guy I was talking about whose wife has a baby. He flies a plane, which he's been once I got him has made the game leaps and bounds better for me. Where he flies a plane when you're walking around or driving around or whatever. So whenever a plane does find me, he can take out the plane for me, or at least help me get rid of them. And then Boomer, the dog, who is so far my favorite still. Obviously, game has a dog, it's automatically got my interest in it. But a cool thing he did, I didn't even know this. Is he can actually like, run up and like steal guns from the enemies.
What?
So so I was like in a firefight with a bunch of like guys, and I was about to die. Like this guy got close to me with the shotgun. I was going around with the pistol because I ran out of ammo on my assault rifle, and Boomer runs up, steals the shotgun from his hand, and like I'm like one shot away from being dead. Steals the shotgun from his hand, runs and gives it to me. I take the shotgun and shoot the guy with his own shotgun. I just started laughing. I'm like, okay, that was really cool. Like that was like, it's very rare that a game can like pop me like that, and to like get me like I audibly say something, or like yeah, or fist pump or whatever. And that was just like I audibly just started laughing. I'm like, all right, that was pretty sweet. That was a really cool moment. And like if he does, like it sucks though when he gets like hit or hurt, he makes the yiping noise. I feel terrible for him. But the cool thing is if he gets injured, you just gotta pet him and he gets up and he's cool. Yeah. So there's like I just finished the first region. Like the build up to like fighting them and the cutscenes are incredibly well done. The actual fight itself wasn't really all that great because it's a game. Man, a lot of games struggle with that. Even like Far Cry especially, where they have to like do some weird shit to like unrealistic stuff, or like throw some drugs in there to make it like you're hallucinating. But this one is just like I just shot him in the head and he was dead like 2 seconds. So it wasn't really much of a boss fight at all. But like the mission itself, the build up to them, and like because like I said, you have to like cause chaos in the regions, complete missions, take out silos, take over outposts, things like that to build up this meter to actually get to the boss fight with him. And like when you get to like certain check mark, there's like 3 levels to each one. Every time you get it, like something happens, and the build up to like fighting these guys and making you hate them, they did a really good job of. Like these villains are really good, they're really well made, and like they're easily hateable. But yeah, the fight itself was little lackluster, I guess. Once he got to that point, but the build up was great. Other than that, so I'm still really enjoying it. It took a little bit for me to get into it. I would say if you're gonna, if you haven't played this game yet, go into the John Seed area first. They kind of the video game kind of drives you that way in the story part of it. Kind of like I think majority of people start there, but you can go to any region at any time. But the first thing you want to do is I can't remember his name. I think it's Nick Rye. Get him as one of your buddies you can get. He's one with the plane, because that will make the game way more enjoyable for you. Because like I said, he'll take out the planes. It'll help you up above. So if you're getting overwhelmed by enemies, which I constantly was, and still kind of into a certain point, he helps out greatly. But Boomer's still the best. But yeah, it's really all I've been playing this week. I haven't getting a chance to really play Detective Pikachu. Fortnite's got its hooks in me, and Far Cry I've been pushing through still. But let's move on to some news we've had going on other than the Pokemon and Switch stuff. But we've got a couple release dates this week. First up, Spider-Man for the PS4 officially got a release date. Game Informer had a big thing going on. The new issue is going to be Spider-Man's on the cover, and they have a big article on the game. But it's officially releasing on September 7th. PS4 exclusive. I believe if I remember correctly, it's going to run at 30 frames per second on the Pro and the regular PS4. But on the PS4, it's going to be 1080, and on the Pro, it's going to be 4K resolution. So not 60 frames I was hoping for, but still, it's going to look incredible. We got some details on the story. You got some more gameplay on it and everything, going over what's going on. But now you can officially pre-order. There's a collector edition out there for $150 if you're interested in that. There's an $80 edition. There's a $60 edition like every other game has. But I don't know if you've read any more on this, Gables. But what's your interest level on the new Spider-Man game?
It's a moderate interest, definitely to say the least. I mean, I'm excited to see what direction that Insomniac is going to be taking Spider-Man in terms of a franchise and stuff. But it just makes me kind of like look at the month of September in general, because it's like you have Spider-Man, and then you have that other game that was just announced this past week too, where it's making September look like a freaking huge month in terms of game releases.
Yeah, yeah. Like, so this game we're gonna talk about next, Spider-Man, on September 7th. Spyro is the next game we're gonna talk about, September 21st. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, September 14th, and then somewhere in between there is Dragon Quest 11. So
yes. So there's basically a game for almost anyone during that month.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
Yeah. Everybody's trying to avoid Red Dead Redemption 2, man. It comes out, I think, like October 26th or something. End of October. Yeah. I went ahead and pre-ordered this already.
Spider-Man?
Yeah, I was talking with somebody at work about it, actually, and like, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna wait on it because there hasn't really been a really good Spider-Man game. There's been like good ones and okay ones out there, like, but none of them have been like must buys or anything.
Yeah, that's what they said about Batman games for a long time too.
Yeah, and it looks like they, like, when we talk about when they first showed it off at E3 a couple years ago, but it looks like they kind of took the Batman Arkham Asylum fighting system. And I'm totally okay with that, but kind of adapted to Spider-Man. So that, I mean, if it's anywhere near as good as that fighting system, even though there's a little bit of fatigue with it, I think, but it's been 4 years since, or 3 years since, was it 2014 or 15 we had Batman?
Like Arkham Knight?
Yeah, I think it was 15 actually.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so it's been a few years, and it's been 3 years then since. At that point in September, it'll be over 3 years since we got a Batman game. So I feel like at this point, that I think people are probably gonna be a little more interested in it, in that fighting system. That the fatigue level won't be there as much as it was, especially being, and it's not like how it was with, like, we had four Batman games in a 6-year span, and especially with Origins, City, and Arkham Knight. All being in the same city, and it's dark, and it's it's really kind of pressing out. Now we're going to be in New York, and it's going to be bright, and it's going to be way different graphic style. It's going to be not so much of a, kind of a, like I said, depressing atmosphere. And with some fresh characters, fresh new villains to fight, and Spider-Man's probably piss people off with this one, but I think is a more entertaining character, I should say. He's sarcastic, he makes jokes. Batman's very dark and serious all the time. So this is what I think will be a completely different atmosphere for this game. So I've already pre-ordered, like I said. I'm incredibly excited for this game. So I at this point I don't need to see anything more really. I'm sure we'll get some more at E3, but I'm just gonna sit here and wait patiently until Spider-Man. But yeah, going like we were saying about September though, like there's already 2 games September I want to play with, Shadow of Tomb Raider and now this. Luckily there's a 2-week gap in between them, but we haven't got to E3 yet. We got a couple months to go for that.
Yep.
So who knows how? And we already got October's already got Call of Duty and Red Dead Redemption. So there's gonna be a new WWE game. There's gonna be a new NBA game in there. Battlefield game's gonna be in there somewhere.
Yep.
So the September, October are already getting crowded. So it's gonna be pretty incredible. E3 when we start seeing some of that stuff filled in and the new stuff we don't even know about yet coming out. There's supposed to be a new Metro game too this year. I hope that gets delayed because I feel like the game's gonna get smothered in the rest of this stuff. But like we touched on already. Spyro the Dragon remastered has been confirmed. It's been rumored for a few months now, but it's officially being called Spyro Reignited Trilogy. It's coming out September 21st. It's coming and it's gonna be $40. Same crew that made the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy that came out last June. I didn't play Spyro games on PS1. I think I played the demo for the original one back in the day, like when the Pizza Hut used to have the PlayStation Underground, whatever it was called, demo disc all the time. But I never actually officially played like a real game of it. What about you, Gables?
I only played like a little bit of the original Spyro, but other than that, I didn't really play the series at all either.
Okay. Are you like excited? Are you interested at all in jumping into the series at this point?
Well, you know what? I would be interested in playing a Spyro game in this day and age, but I'm probably going to wait until it comes out for Switch. I mean, because, for one, the Crash Bandicoot collection came out last year, and it's confirmed to be coming out to the Switch, too, so probably like another year from now, I'd probably be interested in playing the Spyro collection.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, I guess touched on that right now. So, yeah, Crash Bandicoot is coming out in July for Xbox One and Switch. As of right now, Spyro the Dragon, which probably some people, has actually come to Xbox One on September 21st. People thought the rumor initially was it was PS4 only again with a 1-year exclusivity date. No word on a Switch version yet, so which people a little upset about. But it's been some weird like people have been putting up like I think like Nintendo themselves in the UK store put up a page about it, but then it was quickly taken down, and a few other people have posted like links to you can pre-order it for the Switch, but so far no one's confirmed or denied any details on being a Switch coming to Switch, at least on September 21st. It very well could be a year thing again, but we will have to wait and see on that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was excited. I bought into the hype of buying Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy last year, and I played it for a weekend and I fell off of it. And I really liked Warp back in the day. Like I said, I didn't really play a Spyro game, so I don't think I'm gonna buy this one. Might be a skip for me,
Yeah.
especially in September. Like we just talked about, September's gonna be crazy, and it's a holiday season. It's gonna be even crazier. If this was like Crash Bandicoot came out a perfect time in July last year.
Yes, it did.
And if it came out in July or June or something this year, when in summer, and the kind of when there's not a lot going on, I think maybe then I'd be a little more interested in. I think it'd probably be a lot more successful. But September is would be the 20th anniversary of Spyro coming out, so it makes sense to do it then, I guess. But moving on to not really anything major with this one to say other than what it is. if you are a Rocket League fan and you want free stuff, or you're a WWE fan and a Rocket League fan, then if you go to if you boot up Rocket League right now and go into extras and under redeem code, type in WrestleMania all lowercase, you get 2 free items right now.
Nice.
There's 11 different items you can get. I did it, and I got 2 banners. One was NXT, one was a WrestleMania banner. There are 5 banners, 5 flags, and then there's like a set of wheels that looks just like the WWE Championship that you can get out of that one. I guess the tires or the wheels are the rarest ones to get right now. As of right now, that's the only way to get those. I don't think there's any other way to buy them or anything like that. But if you are someone that likes wrestling and likes Rocket League, then there you go. There's a cool little thing you can do for that. Remember we talked about a couple months ago about they were bringing out WWE themed gear for it, and we were talking about car ideas. So I hope there's still a chance that we get some cars, but as of right now, this is what we got. Just some banners and flags.
Exactly. Where's my John Cena car?
Yeah, what the fuck? Well, I mean, it's probably out there. We just can't see it right now. Yeah, man. I still want the Triple H car with the giant shovel on it.
The giant golden shovel.
Yeah, that's still the best one, I think. But you know what? That's pretty much all of the news going on this week, Gables. Said there's more news than last week when we had none last week, and not really a lot going on gaming wise right now. We're kind of in that that middle section where everybody I think we're all just kind of waiting for God of War right now.
It definitely feels like it.
Yeah, it's been a weird year where it feels like we get like a pocket of like a bunch of games, and then we get like a month of nothing, and then we get like a pocket of a bunch of games. It's like January we had like Dragon Ball and Monster Hunter come at the same time, and then like in like the beginning of February we had Shadow of Colossus. Oh, and Shadow of Colossus came out right after all those games, and then like at the end of March we had a bunch of games come out because everybody's trying to get the games out from the end of the fiscal year, and now we're all just kind of waiting for more games to play. So it's not as jam-packed as this time last year, but still a pretty good year so far in gaming, like we talked about last week. So if you want to hear more about that, you can listen to last week's show too. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for listening. If you want to hear more from us, Facebook page and group, Drunk Nerds Podcast on there. On Twitter at Drunk Nerds Pod. Follow us on there. Twitch, twitch.tv/Drunk Nerds Podcast. Follow us on there, and please send a friend request. We like friends are good. And also on iTunes, Drunk Nerds Podcast. Subscribe to us on there. Give us a 5-star review if you can. And then last but not least, YouTube, Drunk Nerds Podcast. Subscribe to us on there. Podcast goes on there as well. Give us a big thumbs up on all of our videos. That we would really appreciate if you did that. Makes it easier for people to see us and gives us a bigger audience, which we'd like to have. But I was your host. I was Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. So until next week, everyone, have yourself a good week. Play yourself some fun games. And just, live life to its fullest.
Yep. Hey, Gables.
Yeah?
Too sweet.
Too sweet, dude.
Boys.